Boys, welcome to my Season 14 item prediction of how good items are going to be. A lot of new items, lots of changes to current items. We'll do our best to try and give you the information as fast as possible. There will be timestamps for every single item we're talking about here. So if you're looking for Titanic Hydra, Sundered Sky, all the new items, etc., we'll put them conveniently for you. So we'll start with the new items, and then we'll go into the reworked items. So, first item is called Sundered Sky. Sundered Sky, which will be on screen here, it gives you 55 AD, 15 ability haste, 300 health, and it says whenever you first attack a champion, critically strike for 150% damage and heals 110% base AD plus 8% of missing health. So basically, Sundered Sky is like Divine Sunderer. This item will mostly be used for Fiora. Fiora will love this item, especially because, you know, crit and healing and blah blah blah. This is like the ideal Fiora item. For Urgot, I don't think it'll be very good. I estimate Sundered Sky will be in the B at highest, and at the lowest will be C. So the first item that's new will not be an Urgot item in my prediction. Next item, Nitro Hexaegis. This gives you 55 AD, 20% attack speed, 300 health, 30 ability haste on your ultimates, and after casting your ultimate, gain 35 attack speed and 15% bonus movement speed for 7 seconds. Awful. I don't need to tell you how bad attack speed is in Urgot. Stridebreaker with attack speed is fine because it's not the core components why that item is good. This item is really building its identity around attack speed. So this is like kind of an item that Youmou will benefit from, because obviously he wants to auto attack a lot after he ults you. He's going for a kill threshold on ER. That's a Youmou item. So this would be in my F tier. Avoid Nitro Hexaegis. Also really hard to say, so gotta be careful with this item. New Hullbreaker. You're like, oh, that's not a new item. They've changed the passive. So again, it will always be on your screen here. Total item cost 3,000. They've changed how it builds from recipes. It gives you 65 AD, 350 health, 5% movement speed, no resistances. This is important. The old Hullbreaker would give you minus resistances based on if you're a melee or range champion. This no longer has any range penalty on the magic resist and armor resist, right? It's still, but now it has an on-hit passive, which Urgot loves. This is really good for Urgot. So, the passive says, basic attacks grant a stack up to 5. Attacking an enemy champion or epic monster, very important, an enemy champion or epic monster, while at max stacks, consumes all the stacks to deal 150% base of bonus physical damage. Urgot is a champion who loves AD, so 150% of bonus physical damage. Just imagine you build 50, 150% of 50, you deal that damage to them, right? Increase support 100% against structures. So basically, D tier. Hullbreaker is going to be so amazing, but do keep in mind, Hullbreaker is currently bugged on the PvE. It doesn't work with Urgot W, but it will. Urgot W is coded as a on-hit auto attack. So Hullbreaker will eventually get patched for Urgot, so you won't get the satisfying testing results with Hullbreaker on the PvE until they patch it. But this item will go to the moon. You have no idea how good Hullbreaker is if you think it's bad. Moving on. Another new item is called Terminus. It costs 3,200 gold. Again, probably on the screen here. 40 attack damage, 30% attack speed. So this item is intended for marksman, but I know a couple people will ask me about it. Basically, what it does, it says passive 1, Shadow. Attacks apply 30 damage on hit. Not the best, not the worst. The passive 2 is the most important thing of this item. Passive 2, Juxtaposition. I'm British. Juxtaposition. Alternate between light and dark on hits each attack. Light attacks grant 3 to 5 armor and magic resist up to 15 to 25 for 5 seconds. Dark attacks grant 6% armor pen up to 30% for 5 seconds. So basically, what this is saying is every time you auto-attack someone, it will give you 1 stack of light. And then after you auto-attack again, it will apply 1 stack of dark. So it'll go light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. But if you're not recognizing, auto-attack from Urgot are 3 times per second, 4 times if you're targeting well. So it goes light, dark, light, dark, light, dark. This is probably a Youmou item, but it's also probably unintended, viable for Urgot. I don't think Terminus will be cracked. I think it makes you way too squishy. If you are buying Terminus, it'll be on like a Hullbreaker build to give you some damage and resistances. But 30% armor penetration from Terminus alone, keep that in mind, 30%, can build Black Cleaver, which is 24%, and then you can also build Serylda's Grudge, which ends up giving you about like 75% armor pen, which is very strong. So if you are a person who likes to walk in side lane and autos turrets, this is very good for you. I don't think this item will be a mega viable, but it is a okay item looking at it on paper. So I would put Terminus in the... At highest, it could go high A- tier, but at the lows, it could be in like the D or C. The problem with items on Urgot, just in general, is items need to be broken for Urgot to utilize them. Urgot can build every item in the game, but Urgot only wants to build the most broken items. So the reason Urgot builds 4 item paths right now, dude, my hands are red from clapping. This is what I do for you, YouTube. Like and subscribe. Look at that. Look at my red hat. That was what a clap is. Anyway, ADHD. Urgot needs to build items that are fundamentally broken. That's why Black Cleaver is so good. And I'm gonna pivot this into Black Cleaver. If an item isn't broken, Urgot doesn't build it. Urgot can build every item. It just matters what is the best item at the time, right? So that's why you see Urgot's tier list is like always repeating these 4 different builds. End up being better against the current meta. That's basically what I suggest to you. But speaking of Black Cleaver, new Black Cleaver. It's not really new, but it's good. Basically, Black Cleaver went from 3,100 gold to 3,000 gold, and instead of giving you a movement speed passive from shredding them on stacks, it just gives you 20 attack movement speed on hit. So much better. Black Cleaver will be also going into my Z tier all the way up here with Hullbreaker. They've just straight up improved Black Cleaver by giving it a more consistent movement speed passive, and you'll actually feel that movement speed because it's applying like it with Wit's End. 55 AD, 400 health, 15 ability haste, still the same statted, 100 gold cheaper. Has historically been the best user of Black Cleaver. Now you're really gonna feel the power of Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver, Z tier. The last one I'll talk about for newer items that have been like adjusted and stuff is Spear of Shojin. So, Spear of Shojin, 3,100 gold. It has 2 passives. Dragon Force. Your non-ultimate spells gain 15 ability haste. This is not that powerful in Urgot because Urgot doesn't really care about Q or E. Well, he cares about E, but he doesn't care about it in the way you think he does. Urgot only cares about Eing once. Urgot either dies before he can get an E off again, or you're already dead before you can get a second E off. So having ability haste on his E doesn't really matter, because you're either dead or they're dead. There's no in between. You either kill them before they E, or you escape with an E, which will already be like a losing fight, right? So you E once, you win. E once, you die. That's it. There's no in betweens. Second passive, spell hits grant stacks up to 3. Your spells do a 3% increased damage with each stack up to 9%. So, what that means is this is a Riven item to its core, because Riven can spam her abilities, and her abilities are actually impactful. This will work with Urgot's passive, though, which leaves room for experimentation. So I won't count Spear of Shojin out, but I predict Spear of Shojin will be a very middling item. I think Spear of Shojin will be a B or a C tier item. Maybe D, if this item doesn't pan out being strong. I think Spear of Shojin is an item that belongs on Riven, but if it's broken, Urgot can use it. Stridebreaker is now changed. It'll be on screen again, over there. Basically, it's the same item with a different build path. It costs 725 gold to complete it now instead of 200. You complete out 200, right? It has... let's not talk about things I don't know. It has a new item build recipe. It costs 3,000 gold, 50 AD, 20% attack speed, 400 health. The active is still the same, but now, instead of just slowing enemies, if you hit enemies with the active, you'll gain movement speed. So, this is very good for Garen. Garen's gonna go in, and then he's gonna use the Stridebreaker, and he's gonna get 900 movement speed. Urgot really uses Stridebreaker in the way that he just does it in a side lane pick scenario. So, gaining 20% movement speed on top of Black Cleaver give you 20% movement speed. You're going to get 40 movement speed in dueling, which can be valuable, but Stridebreaker Black Cleaver will fix your stick issue. Overall, Stridebreaker is better from what it currently is, so Stridebreaker will be going up into the Stridebreaker S tier. Currently, Stridebreaker is one of the best mythics for Urgot. They just improved it and stopped it being a mythic. So, if you need Peel Or if you need stick potential in the side lane, go Stridebreaker and Black Cleaver. Here's a devious one, Titanic Hydra. I am the biggest Titanic Hydra hater that has ever existed. But I think Titanic Hydra will actually be good now. So, instead of it starting at 30 AD, it's now going to start at 55 AD, and it's not going to scale with how much health you have, which is the main problem of the item. Titanic Hydra from before said, Colossus passive, 2% bonus HP becomes AD. This Titanic Hydra says, screw that! Titanic Hydra before said Colossus passive, gain 2% of your bonus HP as AD. This Titanic Hydra says, screw that, we're not going to do that. Basically what it says is passive, cleave, attack, steal, physical damage on hit, and deal physical damage to enemies behind the target. This is what we know. Here's the new part. On your next attack, cleave will instead deal more physical damage in a larger area. So it's becoming an auto attack reset. So what you're going to do is 1, 2, 3, toggle, untoggle, press Titanic, unpunished, auto attack from W, kapow! And then turn on toggle again. I don't know how long the cooldown is on Titanic Hydra, but I assume Titanic Hydra will be a very good Urgot item again. A+ tier. My old video about Titanic Hydra will be nullified. Titanic looks fine. So if you're a Titanic lover, it's a big W for you. I recommend building it on the 2nd or 3rd item slot. Don't start it. But I need to do testing with this. Titanic Hydra is good again, from my eyes reading this. Ravenous Hydra is just regained its active. It's not the same as Titanic Hydra in terms of viability, because Ravenous Hydra is lifesteal. When Ravenous Hydra was Omnimap, it was really strong, but it's still lifesteal. So I reckon Ravenous Hydra would be around C, D, or F. It'll be usable. If Ravenous is broken, it'll be C. If it's bad or mid, it'll be F. That's just how items work. Trinity Force got some changes, but Trinity Force is bad on Urgot in my opinion, so hey, mention Trinity Force. I'll cover it for 5 seconds. It does what it did, and it does it not as good as other items. So, C. Let's talk about the personal Urpog tech, Redemption. Redemption just got straight up buffs. They just gave 15 ability haste to Redemption. Redemption is still a very good item, even though you're not pairing it with Radiant anymore, because Radiant has been removed. At the end of the video, I will give you a list of every single item they removed. Hands are so red from clapping. God damn, YouTube. Anyway, they removed Radiant. The reason Redemption was so strong and why I advocated it for so long, was because it pairs well with Radiant. Now, Radiant's removed, Redemption obviously gets hurt, but they've just slapped 15 ability haste on Redemption and called it a day. So I think the fact that they compensated Redemption makes it still viable enough to run. I build Redemption against enemy team compositions that are hard engage and melee. Like Redemption smurfs on Lee Sin. Because Lee Sin Qs, he goes into your squishy, you drop Redemption, Lee Sin can't kill in time, he kicks them back, goes to another Q, Redemption heals them, your team groups up, he can't play. So, I think Redemption will still be high A tier, S tier. It depends on how good you are at active items. There's an item called Hubris, this is a new item. Recipe is Serrated Dirk, Caulfield's Hammer, 900 gold, 60 AD, 18 lethality, 15 ability haste. When you kill an enemy champion, you're granted a statue of yourself is 1 passive. When a champion of damage within 3 last seconds dies, gain 10 plus statue, attack damage for 60 seconds. So, this probably sounds very confusing. A statue will be a thing that the enemies can destroy. So, what it's saying is, when you kill an enemy champion, gain this much AD plus 1 for every statue you have. So this will be like a talent item. You pick them out in your jungle and then move into the enemy jungle. You have all these statues up on the map of the enemy champions you've killed. Then you'll gain more AD and will be able to play more tempo. Hubris will not be an Urgot item. It's too squishy. We don't care about map control. We care about being more over the map and stuff like that. So Hubris won't be an Urgot item. D tier at best, D tier at worst. But it should be pretty... It has its use. I think it'll be fun in like full lethality builds. But that's about it. Serylda's Grudge, one of the historically best Urgot items from ahead. It's remaining at 3,200 gold. It has 45 AD, 15 lethality, 15 ability haste, and passive 1, Rank War. Gain 22% plus 12% lethality, armor, penetration. So now, Serylda's will scale with lethality. Really good change. I think this item was getting used by champions that had no business using it, so now this incentivizes assassins to build it again. So you'll probably see lethality Aatrox still building it, but any other champions that were like nichely abusing it won't. The second passive is the damaging abilities only slow people under 50% health for 30% for 1 second now. So it's not... Serylda's Grudge is not as broadly good as it used to be, because now you have to be going a lethality build to get value from the armor pen. They've made it so it doesn't always apply to enemies. The reason Serylda's Grudge on Urgot was so good was because it would slow them, deal damage, armor pen. But now it's a conditional slow. So Serylda's Grudge, I would pair it with like Stridebreaker if you're still going to be using it, because you need that stick to get them low enough to begin with. But I think Serylda's Grudge actually gets quite hurt here. Serylda's Grudge will be great on the lethality builds, but generic builds, I think it's hurt. I think Serylda's will be, if it's bad, B tier. If it's great, high A tier. I think this will be a situational niche item for, again, lethality builds, but it's a lot more viable than Hubris. Hubris is a bit more wishy-wash. Youmou's Ghostblade is no longer a mythic. Mythics have been completely removed. It went from 3,000 gold to 2,700. It's now building from Serrated Dirk and an item called Erectrix. So Erectrix gives you 4% movement speed, 20% 20 AD. It builds on a longsword and 550 gold. So imagine like executioners. It gives you 60 AD on Youmou's and 18 lethality. The passive is Haunt. Gain 40% movement speed out of combat. Same. Active, gain 20% movement speed and ghosting for 6 seconds, 45% cooldown. It's the same. So basically, this is Youmou's Ghostblade, but 30 cheaper, or 300 gold cheaper, because they removed its mythic active status. Youmou's will still be a great item, especially the fact they made it cheaper. It'll get you around the map quicker. I reckon Ghostblade will be around high A tier. It looks good. Taking gold off items so that Urgot can access them earlier, very good. So I'll put Youmou's in my A tier. I'm skeptical, because the AD passive is now gone, because it's no longer a mythic. But maybe the 300 gold offsets the AD we lose. Because ordinarily, you would use cheap items as a core for your move stat like function, and you would split push and win your side lane. But now it's 2700, and you don't get 28 AD extra for it. So I'm a bit... I'm welcome to be wrong about this item, but I'd love to be right. Profane Hydra. 60 AD, 18 lethality, 20 ability aid. Active is like a Titanic Hydra slash, but it has a melee to range penalty, so Profane Hydra is probably a very bad item for Urgot. Unfortunately, because it is a lethality item. No, this isn't an Urgot item. Profane Hydra is a Rengar item. Urgot doesn't want bonus effects under champions, on champions under 30% of their health, because Urgot executes champions at 25% health. Urgot wants items that help kill champions from high HP. Urgot likes broad damage that he can apply to a singular purpose. Profane Hydra won't be an Urgot item. I put Profane Hydra in about a D tier. I don't think it'll get used. I'm welcome to be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think pass on Profane Hydra. Axiom Arc. 3,000 gold. It builds from Brutalizer, Coalfields, and Warhammer. Hustle, please show Brutalizer on screen now. Axiom Arc has 55 AD, 18 lethality, 25 ability haste, passive, Flux. Whenever a champion dies within 3 seconds if you damage them, refund 10 plus 35% of your lethality ability total cooldown. It's basically the same with a new recipe. Axiom Arc doesn't find viability on Urgot because you don't need to cast more ults, you need to cast better ults. So I think give Axiom Arc a miss. I think it's overall better because of the Brutalizer build path, but I don't think it'll be viable for Urgot. It'll definitely be fun for like a lethality build, just like Hubris will be. But I don't think Axiom Arc is it. If there's something that's it, it's not Axiom. Axiom, C tier. Jak'Sho is still in the game. They haven't removed Jak'Sho. It costs 3,200. It builds some Chain Vest, Negatron Cloak, Ruby Crystal, and 1,100 gold, which is a bit brutal. Gives you 200 health, 50 armor, 50 magic resist, 3 seconds in champion combat, gain a stack up to 5. At maximum stacks, come powered, increasing your bonus resistances by 25% until end of combat. This item is dead. It found niche success on Urgot, and it was really good in specific lobbies, but now this is like a tank mythic. Well, it's a tank item. which is what it always should have been. This is an Ornn item. This is a Trundle item. This is a Sejuani item. Tanks will use this item. Jak'Sho, C tier. If you go for a full tank Urgot build, which you shouldn't do, it'll be okay. But don't do a full tank Urgot build. That shit sucks. That build sucks. Yeah, I'll give Jak'Sho a miss. It's a very good item, just not for Urgots. Kaenic Rookern. Total cost is 3,000. It builds on Spectre's Cowl, Negatron Cloak, 850 gold. Gives you 350 health, 80 magic resist, 100 base health regeneration, and its passive is Mage Bane. After not taking damage from champions for 15 seconds, gain a magic shield for 18% of your maximum health. This might be the new best magic resist item in the game for Urgot. Because Urgot is a champion that builds a lot of HP. Urgot builds HP AD. Those are his two main stats, right? So the fact that it's 18% of your maximum health and it's 15 seconds, let's say the entire enemy team, like let's say they cheese you a Swain top, Karma top, their jungle was Carpus Lilia, their mid lane is like Orianna Syndra, their support is like Vel'Koz. This item is crazy in that situation. So I think if the entire enemy team is all AP, this will be like a very situational A+ tier item. But if they're not overcommitting into AP, I think give this item a pass. This will be the more Malmortius for Urgot. So Kaenic, very good item. We'll put it in the A tier. Unending Despair. 2,800 gold. Item recipe. Chain Vest, Kill Gem, Ruby Crystal, 800 gold. 400 health, 55 armor, 10 ability haste. Passive. While in combat with enemy champions, every 2 seconds, deal magic damage to enemy nearby champions, healing for 175% of the damage dealt. The damage dealt on this item is very small. It doesn't specify here, but it's about 20 to 40 scaling with level, I believe. I think Unending Despair currently is an underpowered item, but if they make it better, I think Urgot could find some really niche success. The problem with Urgot is Urgot doesn't stay in combat very long. Urgot either dies or it kills you. There's no in-between. There's no, oh, we're mutually going to walk away from each other. You will die, or I will die. There's no in-between. So Unending Despair, it gives armor, so it has like a specific purpose. So you know how when you would build Death Dance on Urgot if the entire enemy team was AD? This will be that. So this is now the Death Dance for Urgots. So don't build Iceborne. Don't build Death Dance. We now build Unending Despair if the entire enemy team is AD. But they will be buffing this item. There's no way they leave this item this week. So my opinion on the item as it is B tier if they're all AD. But it has the potential to go to A tier. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. But it won't stay in the B tier. I have to revise my opinion on the item once they buff it. Because right now, 20 damage every 7 seconds is just not good enough for Urgots. But it does serve the purpose that if they're all AD, that will be a very good Urgot item. Right? Because imagine your Black Cleaver, Sterax, Unending Despair, with like a Stridebreaker or something. You're in a team fight, you have so much armor, they can't kill you, you're in double armor, you've got copies. You will just live. Right? And it's a very good item for just living. So, potential A here, but we'll put it in B. Hollow Radiance. Total item cost, 2,800. Item recipe is Balmy Cinder and Spectre's Cowl, plus 550 gold, 600 health, 40 magic resist, 100 base health regeneration. Passive 1 is the Sunfire passive, and the passive 2 is killing an enemy, non-ward or structure, deals 30 plus 30, 3.5 bonus health, magic damage in an area around them. This is another tank item. Ornn, think tanks. I don't think Hollow Radiance will find use on Urgot. So, this is a Tom Kench item. Watley will love this. This is not an Urgot item. This will be D. I don't find Hollow Radiance to be particularly good. Again, welcome to be wrong, but I don't think I will. I don't think it has any viable use in Urgot. And that should be all. Alright, if you feel like I missed any items or want to discuss about items in particular, go to the comments, ask me about that. Again, all of them will be timestamped. We'll give you a list on the screen right now about all the items that were removed. And happy slaying! Keep in mind, all these items are on PvE, suspect to be changed, buffed, nerfed, etc, etc. These are my opinions as of 21st of November. So, 07s, I'll see you on the Rift. Peace out, Urgot mains. Drop a comment, I'll see you there.